Guys, what's going on? This is RJ Game News USA here, and today we're going to go over the Summer Game Fest announcements. We're going to rapid fire through them rather quickly. I'll have some longer thoughts on each particular game as we go on, and maybe some shorter thoughts on some other ones. I did not watch the entire full presentation. I was busy playing Mario Kart World. However, I went back and saw all the trailers without worrying about the fucking ads that played during this presentation, except of course for the YouTube ads, which I could just skip. But overall, there's about 40-ish or so announcements I want to go over, so let's go over them. This is not in any particular order. It might be somewhat in the order of the presentation. It's just based on when I saw a trailer and I jotted it down, so we're just going to run right through it. Mafia: The Old Country. The game looks great, looks phenomenal. It's $50. Comes out in August. It's an EA game. It's a little weird that EA is coming out with Madden and Mafia: The Old Country around the same time. That's really bizarre. However, this game's half tempting. I'm not going to lie. It's half tempting. It looks like it's got a good narrative. Next up, we got Lies of P Overture. Lies of P is a game I suck at. I will be the first to admit it. And so I don't have any interest in this. But this DLC is out right now. So if you like Lies of P, this was a Shadow Drop DLC. People thought this was coming a little bit later on, but it's out now, in fact. Arc Raiders, which has been in beta. It's getting its full release October 30th. So that's exciting. People are really loving this extraction shooter right now. Hitman World Assassination is coming. Mortal Shell 2. I can tell you from personal experience, I played the first Mortal Shell and I was not that impressed. I'm actually shocked it got a sequel. Speaking of sequels, Death Stranding 2 on the beach. Now, I have an interesting, funny story about Death Stranding. So I'm not gonna lie. I think the game is fucking awful. Okay, first Death Stranding. Awful. But it was one of the funnest fucking streams I've ever done on this channel. Because it was so ironically bad. And I was so horrible at walking in this game. I would fall every few seconds. But everybody in stream was laughing and having a good time. And it makes me want to get Death Stranding 2 on the beach just to do that all over again. And it's one of PlayStation's big games. I mean, it's kind of weird. We saw it here. We saw it at the PlayStation Showcase. We get it, guys. We've seen enough of this game. Just release it. Chronicles Medieval. That was announced. And then this next game that was announced is... it's very interesting. Sonic copies Mario so much, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. When I was growing up as a kid, Sonic actually tried to do something different than Mario. Sonic just wanted to be a fast platformer. They just wanted speed, speed, speed. We're faster than Mario. That's what they tried to sell you on. Oh, we're cooler, we're hipper than Mario. We're for teens. We're not for kids. That's what Sonic tried to sell you on in the early 90s. Nowadays, they just want to see what Mario's doing and copy. What's weird is, though, you can't just do that in game development. You need to be doing a project for years and years and years. So can you really call it a copy? It just feels that way because they announced Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, which literally feels like this is sort of their Mario Kart World ripoff. Okay? Now, this game will be great, I think, for PlayStation and Xbox players who can't play Mario Kart Cross Worlds. I think they get Mario Kart World. But Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, it's going to be fun. I'm not getting it at launch. I'll wait for a sale. I'm sure I'll be, neck deep still playing Mario Kart World by then when it comes out in September. But I always thought the Sonic Racing games were very good and serviceable. Probably out of all the games shown here, which I probably will get none of them. Out of all the games shown here, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds is probably the most likely I'll play. Code Vein 2 was announced. An action RPG sequel. People are kind of surprised it got a sequel. First game wasn't well received. End of Abyss. This is your typical twin stick shooter. If you've been aching for some of that, I think I have. I've been wanting some twin stick shooter action lately. Mouse PI for Hire. Looks like a Mickey Mouse looking black and white private eye detective game. Game of Thrones War of Westeros. I was excited. I was like, Game of Thrones game? Alright, let's go. I love the Telltale games, right? Then I found out this is real-time strategy, and I was like, ugh, I'm bummed. Speaking of being bummed, Atomic Heart 2 was announced. I mean, shocked that it's already getting a sequel. I feel like it was just yesterday when it came out. Time flies like that. Usually not in game development. I hated the first Atomic Heart. I really thought this game was going to be fucking awesome. I got into it, and then less than an hour in, I was like, oh, I got major issues with this one. And a sequel, I don't know about that. Next game I thought was pretty exciting. The Cube. It's an experimental multiplayer. Ooh. I don't know what that means, but we'll see. This next one I'm actually excited for. Marvel Comic Invasion. It's a 2D beat 'em up. 2D beat 'em ups, there's a couple in this show. I'm excited to see them back around. Love them. They're short, they're fun, they're fast paced. I saw She-Hulk or whoever the character was in this game. It's gonna be fucking great. Onimusha Way of the Sword. Capcom's been hitting it big lately. You'll see more on that later. But Onimusha Way of the Sword's coming. Most of these games are coming in 2026, though. How about this one? Felt That Boxing. I'm excited for this one. It's a Punch-Out style game. And I feel like the title of this is Kino Casino inspired. If you know, you know. This one I'm excited for. A lot of people are shitting on this online. There's a lot of these games here that are I'm like C+ to B- excited for. Like, a lot of these games I would play, but maybe not buy, because I'm a cheap ass sometimes. I hope this one's free to play. Killer Inn. It's a Square Enix made 24-player multiplayer game. I hope it's free to play. I would absolutely play this. Would I buy it? Fuck no. But I'd play it. Dune Awakening, coming June 10th. That's right around the corner. How about Out of Words? Okay, this is the worst game in the presentation. You ready for this? This is the absolute worst game in the presentation that I've seen. Out of Words. A co-op platformer, but it's in a terrible art style, and it's in stop motion. I hate stop motion games because I like games with smooth frame rates, and games that you have that purposely have a stop motion frame rate suck ass. I'm looking for good frame rate. I always pick performance mode over quality mode when I get a chance. I would take 60 frames a second, 120 frames a second, over 30 frames a second, or in this case, whatever fuck frames a second they want to go with. The Scarlet and Violet frames per second, right? Not interested. But there is a bevy of co-op. These co-op games I'm not really interested in anyway. Like where you need the second person to progress. I'm never really going to get into those. I'm never really going to. As an adult, and I understand it's not just for me, there's a whole industry of people. There's a whole, bevy of an audience that loves these games, and that's cool. But not giving me an option for single player or matchmaking. Look, when you're a guy that's an adult in your 30s, you cannot always get together with your friends to go play like a 20-hour co-op game. Okay? You got responsibilities. You got stuff like work. You got stuff like maybe a family to take care of. Who knew? But yeah, speaking of those co-op games, the one that I think looks better is Lego Voyagers. So people trying to capitalize off that split fiction sort of trend. Then we have Nicktoons The Dice of Destiny. SpongeBob is the main character. That'd be a good game for kids. Fractured Blooms, first-person horror. This game actually looks pretty scary. I'm not going to lie. I'm not big on scary games. I love scary movies. It never translated for me for scary games for some reason. But this looks pretty scary. This I'm excited for right here. There's so many games that could be game of the show. And this is definitely one of them. Mina the Hollower. It's made from the Shovel Knight studio. It's in sort of like a Game Boy Color sort of art style. And anything that the Shovel Knight studio does is fantastic. Yacht Club Games hits it out of the park. I'm a big fan of Celia, who's on Spawncast, who's from Yacht Club Games. Always pushing indies. Indies are really the backbone of the industry in some ways. And Mina the Hollower looks great. I am sad we didn't see any Hollow Knight announcement at this show. I mean, the last chance for it's going to be at the Xbox presentation. But we'll see. Then this next game would have been super exciting. Would have been my game of the show, except it's a VR game. Deadpool VR. Are you fucking kidding? I've been wanting a Deadpool game for years. A good new Deadpool game. And what do? They give it to us, but they give it to us in lame-ass, dumb-ass VR. Then we have Toa Guardians of the Sacred Tree. It's a very anime-looking game, so maybe I'm interested. Then we have Axe of Blood. An action shooter. Looks decent. Here's another good game right here. Scott Pilgrim EX. Another 2D beat 'em up. You guys remember the Scott Pilgrim game from years ago. I'm shocked we're getting a sequel, but we are. I'm interested. And then this next one right here, this is for people that don't have a Switch 2 or a Switch to play Mario Party. Lego Party is there to the rescue, though. It's just like Mario Party. It's got a board. It's got mini games. So if you're like a PlayStation, Xbox only player, hit up Lego Party if you want to have a good time with friends. And then we have Wildgate, which I don't know too much about, but it's a PvP and PvE space shooter. Could this be the Destiny replacement? Could this be where people that play Destiny for a while end up going to? I think that's how they're positioning this game. Then this game looks great. Blighted. It's a Metroidvania from the same people who made Guacamelee. So again, there were some really good games at the show. There really was some good games at the show here. Then there's this game called 3, which is a first-person survival horror game. Looks intense. This next game I won't play only because I don't really like bugs. Infinitesimals. It was made by a dev team of 8 people, which is impressive. And it's a third-person shooter. Then we got this is an interesting game. This is another one right here coming up where I could see this game being super fun and super successful, but I could also see it flopping straight on its ass because it's really just one mode. It's called Last Flag, and it's a competitive capture the flag. I love Capture the Flag. Capture the Flag used to be my first objective game mode in a shooter that was interesting. But to have a whole game based around Capture the Flag, I don't know if that's the smartest decision. But it better be fucking the best Capture the Flag that's ever been made, obviously. But it's really weird. It'd be like if you had a game that's just called Team Deathmatch. Our game is called Team Deathmatch, and we do one mode, and it's Team Deathmatch. Okay, there you go. How about Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, a Souls-like? We got Wu-Tang, Rise of the Receiver. That's a co-op hack and slash. Kind of interested in that. Into the Unwell is a 3-player roguelike. And then I think this game took the world by storm a little bit. Stranger Than Heaven looked really good. It's set in the 1940s. And I think a lot of people were excited. However, the final announcement was the biggest announcement. You know, to a lot of people, this is easily game of the show. Even for me, somebody that's not been the biggest Resident Evil fan, this trailer looked really good. I think the only thing that was weird about the trailer was I thought her sweat looked weird. Like, the graphics for her sweat in the trailer looked really bizarre. It looked really, ugh, you know what I mean? But Resident Evil Requiem, people thought it'd be Resident Evil 9, but it's Resident Evil Requiem, is coming February 27th, 2026. So they put a date on this. They put a date on this. Early 2026 it's coming. And of course we will end up covering the review of that on the channel when it goes up. When that game goes live early next year. So guys, that is Summer Games Fest. I hope I caught you up to speed. Overall, I actually thought the show was very good. I actually thought the show was much better than the PlayStation presentation. Some of these games could have been at the PlayStation presentation and just wasn't. PlayStation Studios needs to get their shit together, obviously. The Xbox Showcase, we'll see how good that is. Xbox Showcase will probably be the best of the showcases, honestly. But yeah, I'll real quickly, I'll run through the games that really stood out for me. Mafia: The Old Country looks great. Death Stranding 2 looks great. At least for its purposes. Sonic Racing Worlds looks great. And I like Killer Inn. Felt that boxing. Mirror the Hollower. Blighted. Stranger Than Heaven and Resident Evil Requiem. There was about, good 8 or 9 games here. Maybe a little more if you're feeling generous. Maybe 5 or 6 if you're feeling not so generous. There's definitely some games here that you might consider purchasing or buying or playing. So, I mean, overall, I'm going to say this presentation was an 8 out of 10. There was nothing that really knocked my socks off. Everything felt like the best games here felt like B- games. It's got to be an 8 out of 10 for that reason. There were so many options, so many announcements. Obviously, I think if I was watching the full presentation, I would have been more bored because of all the ads and commercials. I'm glad I did it this way, where I just sought out the trailers after. Overall, that helped my experience, because Summer Game Fest last year was horrible to sit through. So anyway, guys, what are you excited for from Summer Games Fest? What are you looking forward to playing the rest of the year or next year? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching the video. Hit the like button on your way out. Share this out to your friends. And I will see you all later. Peace. Have a good one.